Pretty shortened his Commodore at the crossover, but the battle for the lead was hotly contested in both races, with Jim Richards this time driving the 34 car. Brad Jones managed to score maximum points with a win in both heats, while Jim Richards scored 2 seconds and John Faulkner 2 third places. Calder Park for round 3, and yet again Faulkner and Jones put on a great show, this time with good support from Peter Fitzgerald, Terry Wyhoon, Bruce Williams, Marshall Brewer and Grant Munday, with the lead changing constantly. Tyres were proving to be a major factor as to just how fast they could go. Rodney Jane developed a fluid leak and swapped ends on turn 2, leaving Paul Fordham nowhere to go. With only 4 laps to go, John Faulkner retired with a broken tail shaft, leaving Brad Jones victorious once again, this time from Peter Fitzgerald and Grant Munday. Adelaide and the setting sun was right in the driver's eyes down the main straight. This time Mark Seaton had pole position and made the most of his speed on the short track to keep out the hungry duo of Faulkner and Jones. Peter Fitzgerald and Grant Munday had a tiff in turn 1, with Fitzy coming off second best. Meanwhile, Brad Jones drove lap after lap on the outside of the track, going the long way round to eventually pass Mark Seaton. John Faulkner took the short way past soon after by diving underneath. Up at the front, the racing was getting closer and closer. In fact, the 2 antagonists were practically engaged before Brad Jones was taken out of the action with a stop-go penalty for an infringement under the yellow flag. Back in the pack, the action was just as furious, with Terry Wyhoon and Kenai Anson just one of the contests. Eventually, John Faulkner took the checkered flag for the first time in the season, from Grant Munday and Mark Seaton. Round 5 at Calder, and the usual duo of Jones and Faulkner was joined at the front by Peter Fitzgerald and Terry Wyhoon. Max de Jersey had a scrape with the wall, but unfortunately worse was to come. Having missed everything but the wall, he managed to find the guardrail on pit lane. For most of the race, the lead was hotly contested, with half a dozen cars taking a turn at the front. Even a lightning stop by Brad Jones wasn't enough to keep him in the hunt. Faulkner proved to be too strong, and he was to take the checkered flag for the second race in a row. On to surface paradise, and it was no surprise to find Jones and Faulkner on the front row of the grid. But this time, the major points would elude them both. So intent were they on beating each other that the inevitable happened. And to the detriment of both. Faulkner slowed immediately and headed for the pits, while Jones pressed on gamely until the first right-hander. Eventually, the lead was taken by Bruce Williams, who was tailed by the Valvoline car of Gary Rogers. Jim Richards succumbed to problems and was overtaken by Peter Fitzgerald. And in the most frightening accident in the history of AUSCAR, Lloyd McDonald managed to escape with minor injuries from this horrific head-on. At the flag, Gary Rogers beat Terry Wyhoon with a failing Bruce Williams third. So at the end of 6 rounds, the point score looks like this. The defending